Hello there, welcome back to part 2 of my week by week league tables. So far we've brought in the data and we've opened up Power Query and we've made a start setting things up. This is what we'll be hoping to achieve, which is basically a week by week table, and the idea is you could select whatever week you want or whatever. It would be what the league table would be for that week with that. Just clear that. And like I say, the idea is if you wanted to mess around with data with league positions rather than teams and stuff, but it's also a good intro to Excel for learning about index functions, custom functions. I don't claim to be any Excel expert. Anything I've just picked up myself, and I'm sure the stuff you'll see. If you're familiar with Excel, you may think of easier ways. But this is just how I've done it. And if you know nothing about it, great. If you've got Excel, just join along, have a play, and just see if you enjoy it. Okay, so let's go to where we were before, which is back to here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my data. So if I click on the data, it only opens up this side, and I'm just going to double click on table, and that's going to bring back up to Power Query with that. So now what we need to do, we need to set up the actual the points, the games played, etc. For each row. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a column, and I'm just going to call it played with that. So I'm just going to type it PLY. For played. And all I'm going to do is put 1 in. And that's it. So it means Brentford played 1 game, Arsenal played 1 game. It's just going to do it all the way through. And then the idea is when we do the function to tot up week by week, it's going to add them. So you get a running week, basically, with that. Okay. So the next phase now is we want to do your wins. That's what we're going to do next. So go to add column, custom column, and I'll just put win. Okay, I'm going to type it out for the first one. For the next one, I'm just going to bring it up where I'll put in. And like I say, you can copy it. So basically what we're going to do is what we're saying is if the full-time result is home, and the attribute is home, then 1. Else. So in other words, if full-time result, which is here, is H, and the attribute here is home, then you give it a 1. Otherwise, we're going to give it a 0. That's why I put these in lowercase. So when I'm typing, I'm not having to keep hitting the caps lock all the time. And then if I click again, I'm typing if the full-time result, I should have put equals there, equals A, and the attribute equals away, then 1, else 0. And then if we tap that now, we've got a win column. So just check your match column. So Brentford beat Arsenal 2-0. So if we look here, Brentford have got the win. If you look at Arsenal, they've got the 0. So we know that's okay. So now that we've done the win, next we're going to do the draw. So with that, if we tap column, custom column, add column, custom column, and I'm just going to skip it and just put it in for you. So up on here, we'll call this draw. And what I've put there is it's basically now, if the full-time result is equal to D and the attribute's home, give the home team a 1. If it's a D and the attribute is the away team, give them a 1. So if you look here, obviously this is our full-time result, and we've got draws down here, so that will give the team it has a D next to it a 1. So we'll click OK. Now we've got our draw. And if you look down here, we can check it. So the first of the draws were down here, Crystal Palace, Brentford, and they've got a 1 next to them with that, which is brilliant. Oops. Okay, so next we need to do our loss column. So again, you go to add column, custom column, and we'll call it loss. Okay. Okay, so now we've got if the full-time result is A, and the away team, and the attribute is the home, give them 1. So in other words, the away team won, so the home team lost. So give them a 1. And that's just a switch around. So if the full-time result says the home team won, then give the attribute away team, give them a 1 because the away team lost, because the home team won. Okay, just tap that. And then we've got our loss column. Actually, what we will do, we'll do it in the order of our table, so we don't get them mixed up. So we've got played, won, drawn, lost. We'll do goals for, we'll do goals scored instead. So to do that, we'll again add a custom column. And we'll just call it goals for. Goals for. Okay, and we'll type in this. Okay, so what we'll put in is if the attribute, which is a home team, then give them the full-time home goals. Otherwise, give the team the full-time away. In other words, if the home team give them the full-time home goals, which leaves the away team to give them the full-time away goals. So that's the goals for the home and away team. Okay. So again, if you want to check it, goals for there, we go to Arsenal and Brentford. So it's 2-0, 2 goals to Brentford, none to Arsenal. There you go. Brentford, they got 2. Arsenal got none. If you look at Burnley, we've got 1, Brighton 2. So if we look just to check that, Burnley 1, Brighton 2. That's correct. And then goals against. So basically, it's just the opposite of what we're putting. So again, add column, custom column, and we'll call it goals against. Okay, goals against, and just put in the following. So we'll put if the attribute is the home team, give them the full-time away goals. So that was goals scored against them. Otherwise, full-time home goals, which that means it'll give the away team the full-time home goals, which is correct. And if we tap that, now we should have an opposite of goals for, goals against. So this the top 2 here, 2-0, 0-2, 1-2, 2-1. So that's looking good. If you look from before for a win, draw, loss as well, by the way, I didn't check that. But if you look here, you've got 3 columns. So Brentford won, so they didn't draw or lose. Arsenal, they lost, so they didn't win or draw. So basically everyone in here should have a 1 in only one of them 3 columns, which is absolutely correct. So we've got goals for, goals against, and revert back to our table here. I'm going to leave goal difference, but next I'm going to do the points. So for that we go to add column, custom column, a lot of that going on. And we'll just type in points, PTS, that should do it. Okay, and then just put the following in. So we're sorting out the home teams first. So if the full-time result equals H and the attribute equals home, then give the home team 3 points because they won. But if the full-time result is a D for draw and the attribute is the home team, then give the home team 1 point. And then we're going to do the same, but this time for the away team. but keep it on this same one. So I'm just going to show you that one. So we've just done the opposite for the away. So if the full-time result said it's the away team that won, the attribute's the away team, give them 3 points. If the full-time result is a draw, a D, and the attribute's the away team, give them 1 point, else 0. So basically, what it's saying is if none of them teams have a home, have these next to them, that means they didn't get any points. So you just give it 0. So if we click on OK, and now we've got the points. So if you want to look at teams here, so if you remember here, we had Brentford Arsenal. They won 2-0. So basically Brentford should have 3 points and Arsenal none. So there you go, Brentford 3. Just bring it in a little bit. So yeah, Brentford, if you look here, that's Brentford, that's Arsenal. Brentford got 3 points, Arsenal got none. You can check the draws. So if you look down here, row 25, for a 1, and backtrack it there, Palace Brentford 0-0. That was a draw. So now we've got those sorted out. Okay, so I think this is a good place to end this one. So now we've put in the groundwork for each week. We know the points, the goal difference, etc. Sorry, not the goal difference. We'll do that later. But we know the wins, the draws, etc. So all we'll do now is I'll just click home, click close and load, and then if you just click save, and that's ready for part 3 when you decide you want to do part 3. So if you look here now, that's brought these in with that. Okay, and the next one we're going to sort out the week numbers and hopefully create our custom function. Okay, so if you like, click like. If you wish to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in part 3.